Can't touch your toes? Hamstrings always feel tight? Stretching alone isn't the answer. In this video, I want to share why stretching your hamstrings more may actually be perpetuating the issues and what you should be doing instead. Now, I'm not saying that stretching is bad, but just because a muscle feels tight doesn't mean that stretching is the answer. In the case of our hamstrings, we have to understand why they're tight to realize why stretching is often making matters worse. Our hamstrings can actually feel tight because they're already overstretched and even compensating for weaker underactive glutes. This often happens because our hip flexors become tight and overactive, or even our ankle mobility is lacking. The shortening of our hip flexors can lead to excessive anterior pelvic tilt, or a change in our posture that can lead to our hamstrings becoming overstretched. And with this change in posture, our glutes don't function as they should. So when we stretch our hamstrings, we might get temporary relief, but we're not actually addressing the underlying problem. So what should you do instead? These 4 steps can help us improve our hamstring flexibility by actually addressing the true mobility and stability issues. First, you're gonna foam roll your hamstrings. If you always feel your hamstrings during any glute exercise, they may be synergistically dominant and working instead of letting your glutes be the prime mover. Part of this happens because of our mind-body connection. We have this recruitment pattern ingrained, which means that our mind wants to recruit our hamstrings before it activates our glutes. By first foam rolling your hamstrings, you can relax this muscle to better allow yourself to recruit your glutes. This is a great way to release the muscle without stretching. To roll out your hamstrings, a ball on a bench works best. The smaller and harder the ball you use, the more it's going to dig in. When you take the ball, you'll actually place it right below your butt to start on the bench. You want to then extend the leg out in front of you before relaxing it back down. You can work all down the length of the back of your thigh from the outside of your leg towards your inner thigh. But you want to hold on any spots that feel tight and extend your leg out in front before relaxing it back down. Work the ball all the way underneath your butt before you move it down your leg. But you want to change positions, finding the tight spots for you. When you do find an area that's tight, hold on that spot, again extending the leg out before relaxing it back down. You can even apply a little bit more pressure, pushing your leg down into the ball, but you don't want to tense the muscle as you hold. If you want a little bit more pressure, remember the smaller and harder the ball, the more it's going to dig in. If you're rolling out your hamstring for the first time, it's not bad to roll around a little bit more to try and find what areas are actually tight for you before you then hold. And it's good to hold on a spot and think 5 flexes with the leg before you then move to another spot. Next, you're gonna wanna stretch your hips and ankles. Part of that perpetual hamstring tightness might be a lack of mobility at your hips or ankles. This immobility leads to improper posture in everyday life, making our hamstrings feel like they're constantly tight. That's why you want to include this side-lying hip and quad stretch in your routine to stretch those tight hip flexors, as well as the bear squat to foot stretch to improve your ankle and foot mobility. This can help you avoid your hamstrings becoming strained or overworked, while also better helping you engage your glutes. While you can do the side-lying hip and quad stretch standing, the side-lying variation is great if you have balance issues or can't focus on that true hip extension while standing. As you pull your heel back towards your butt, squeeze your glute to truly extend your hip. The knee flexion and hip extension will stretch out those hip flexors. If you can't reach your foot, you can loop a towel around your ankle to pull your heel back with that. Relax out and repeat the movement. Really focus on engaging your glute to truly extend that hip and stretch those hip flexors. If you feel your hamstring cramp as you bring your heel back in, consciously relax your foot over allowing your ankle to flex and focus on that glute. With the bear squat to foot stretch, you're gonna be working on your foot and your ankle mobility. You wanna sit back on your heels and rock side to side with your toes actually tucked under. This is gonna put more pressure on your knees and feet, and it's best to do it without shoes on, but I'll also show you a variation that you can do standing if you can't kneel down. But you wanna think about rocking side to side with your toes tucked under. Then you're gonna place your hands down on the ground and drive your heels down as you push your butt up in the air. This is going to stretch out your ankles and work on the ability of your toes to be drawn up towards your shin, or that ankle dorsiflexion. So again, you're gonna place your hands down, drive your heels down, even pedaling your feet to focus on each side independently, and then you can drive both down before you sit back down and sit back on your heels. You're working on your foot mobility here, and then your ankle mobility as you drive your butt back up in the air and push your heels down towards the ground. You wanna get your heels as close to the ground as you can. Now, if you can't kneel down, you can do a version of this standing. If you can't sit back on your heels without pain, or you have knee pain when kneeling down, you can do a great ankle mobility movement placing the ball of your foot on a plate weight or dumbbell, and then drive your knee forward while keeping your heel down. Now let's address your glutes. Focused glute activation moves like the glute bridge will not only stretch out your hip flexors, but they'll improve your hip stability through strengthening and activating your glutes. Strong glutes mean you won't be relying on your hamstrings as much, and they won't then become overworked and tight. The one thing you have to be conscious of though is what you actually feel working. If you let your hamstrings compensate while doing the right moves, you'll perpetuate your hamstring issues and they'll keep feeling tight. In order for all of your glute activation work to pay off, you have to feel your glutes truly as the prime mover. If you struggle with even that bodyweight glute bridge, try the frog bridge instead. That external hip rotation can be helpful. Or you can use a mini band to even help engage that glute medius more, which will help engage the glute max better. Just make sure you aren't arching your back or pushing yourself backwards as you do the move. Focus on a slight posterior pelvic tilt and only bridging up as high as you can control using your glutes. For more tips to help you use the glute bridge to improve your hamstring flexibility while activating your glutes, click the link in the video description. Using these key moves, you can improve your hamstring flexibility to see lasting results. Stop wasting your time stretching and address the underlying mobility and stability issues. If you liked the video, make sure to like it, comment below if you have any questions, and subscribe. We're posting new videos each week.